So I have decided to do something that is completely out of my comfort zone. It's something that I have not ever done before, and it is a very big decision for me. I have decided to go and live with my partner. Now, living with a partner part is not something that I've never done before. I've had long-term relationships, I've lived with people. What I haven't done is lived with just one person alone before. Since I moved in with my dad when I was in my early teenage years, there were always more people than just me and him, or me, him, and my brother. He was always bringing people into our lives. There were always people staying in the guest bedroom or in all the various other rooms of the house, sometimes even. So basically my entire adult life I have lived with a group of people and not necessarily being related to everyone. So this is like in a way it's terrifying, and in a way it's exciting because it's something new, and yes, of course it's something that I want to do, otherwise why would I be doing it? And of course this doesn't change any of my commitments in terms of my purpose that I've chosen to live and what I'm going to be doing to create myself and create my path and create my purpose. But certain parts of my life are going to change, like my day-to-day living, obviously, and the the parts that are the scary parts are all the thoughts that come up of, like, what if it's the wrong choice? What if things don't work out? What if something bad happens? What if the dogs and cats don't get along? Because his dogs, we don't know if they've met cats before, and it's going to be a process of introducing them to the cats. What if my horse isn't happy there? What if I'm not happy? What if he's not happy? What if this is not actually what he wants? What? All of these things that come up, it's almost like we're in a way designed to sabotage ourselves. We're designed to just go off the rails, to go in these spin outs of what if scenarios, of worst case scenarios. And the funny thing is that, like, it's like we get started on thinking about, okay, what if this, what if that, and it's so not grounded, it's so up in the air, it's so loose and like all over the place. It feels so disconnected, it feels so, it's like shaky, and it creates this shaky experience inside of like, oh my god, everything is just gonna fall apart. But then when you slow down and actually start to look at things, start to plan out, okay, all right, that is a possibility. Let's say, for example, we use the scenario of what if the cats and dogs don't get along. If that is the case, it means a process of slow introduction and slow integration, of keeping the cats in the house and having controlled meetings between them. So that's one example of, okay, there is a solution to that. But then you have the other what ifs that are completely, I don't want to say irrational, or, okay, how about this? They're hard to prove. So these are the what ifs when it comes to what other people are thinking, what other people are feeling. So, like, what if this is not actually what he really wants? Or what if that person doesn't actually like me? It's those things that even if you ask the person and they say to you, What, are you crazy? Of course this is what I want. Or of course I like you. Or of course this, that. You don't actually know for sure. They could be lying. All of these possibilities just start building, especially when you're not with them, especially when you're left alone, to start nitpicking every single conversation you've ever had, every single look they've ever given you that felt a little off, every time they were in a bad mood. All of these scenarios that start adding up to your doubt, your uncertainty, your anxiety of all of the feelings that are fueling these what if scenarios. And it can get to a point where it actually changes our behavior, where we become so insecure that we try and compensate for it. Sometimes we might get some people actually get aggressive and sabotage a relationship, for example, because they would rather be the one to end it than having someone else end it. They'd rather be the one who stops it than be the one who gets hurt. Sometimes, and this is the interesting thing, sometimes we actually create our fears, because within thinking about all of these things, within generating all this fear, our behavior starts changing in such a way that, for example, if we are not sure that our partner really wants to spend time with us, we might become extra needy or overcompensate by trying to do absolutely everything for them, trying to be the perfect partner. And sometimes what happens is that creates a conflict in the relationship. That very behavior that we start exhibiting in order to try to prevent our fears from manifesting is what actually manifests the fear. So that's why it's like you have these moments in life where you realize that the things that you really truly feared happening end up actually happening. And it doesn't mean that we can always prevent that, but what we can do is live in such a way that we are not manifesting our fears without knowing what we're doing, without realizing that it is us who has created it, that we are the ones who have manifested that behavior to create those fears, to manifest them in our lives. So that's a very interesting point. And what I've been testing and practicing when it comes to these fears is, okay, so I already went over the practical points that have practical solutions. You slow down, you look at it step by step. Okay, what do I do in this scenario? What do I do in that scenario? Plan it out for yourself. Look at what solutions can you test and implement. If this solution doesn't work, then try that one. If that one doesn't work, then try this one. When it comes to these other fears that are especially relating to other people, or points that you don't necessarily have a solution for that you can implement in your physical life, those points, what's important is to deal with the emotional fear experiences and the thoughts that are generating those fear experiences. So when those what if thoughts come up, it is important to stop them, because what I found within my life is that if I let those thoughts carry on and get bigger and have more emotional energy build up within them, then it becomes more difficult to stop, and it starts me down the path of manifesting that fear, of actually changing my behavior in such a way that I create it. I fulfill my own prophecy. So again, what's important is stopping the thoughts and stopping the emotions, because that is what leads to the changes in behavior. And cool ways that you can support yourself in doing that is writing out the specific fears that you have, the what if this, and this. list it all out and find a way that works for you to let them go, to forgive yourself. Test self-forgiveness. If that doesn't work, then test a different approach. Find something that works for you. Obviously, I will suggest self-forgiveness because it is something that I know does work for a lot of people. It's something that it works for me. And self-forgiveness comes to a point where what is important within it is the actual living of the self-forgiveness, of forgiving yourself in those moments where those thoughts come up. The thought comes up, you say to yourself, okay, no, this is not what I want to live, this is not who I want to be. You let it go, and that letting go, that complete letting go, is like a self-forgiveness. It's that living of self-forgiveness. But in any case, I'm going to go to here for now. If you have any questions, comments, please don't be scared to send me a message directly on the Get Real page or drop a comment in the video description. If you'd like to support me, you can do so on Patreon. I'm going to put the link in the video description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.